Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 682 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025, and as you can tell by the sun on my face, it is a gorgeous day here at the Beaver Lodge. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver A, and with me, as always, looking fabulous in pink, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corbin Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. Got a fun show for you today in that we're going to try to keep those Canada Day vibes going a little bit, even though there is some actual news in there too. But before we do anything else, Mr. Grizzly, how is your mental health doing today, sir?
Well, I'd say pretty good. I'm just a little tired. It is 10 after 5, quarter after 5 here, so I've been up for, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes, so a little tired. But good. Yeah, had a fun time yesterday. I got some footage. It just doesn't seem to want to load for me for some reason. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'll try and get some footage up later.
It will be content for another day.
It might just be that,
Yeah, good stuff. Hopefully, I see that we have Kits Jen and Kits Nona Carol with us. So I hope that you had wonderful and fabulous birthdays. I mean, the whole nation threw a party for you. So hope you got to enjoy and that you had a good time with friends and family. Also saw in the chat yesterday that Kit Frankie has a job interview, I believe, today. So hopefully everything with that is going to go well. We are sending you all the good vibes. And as you know, if you're a little pooped from partying, that makes sense because, it's been a busy last couple of days. And we had a National Indigenous Peoples Day on the 21st, and then Saint Jean-Baptiste Day on the 24th, National Multiculturalism Day on the 27th, and then Canada Day yesterday. So that's a lot of a lot of big days in a very short period of time. So if you need a vacation from your vacations, we understand.
It's entirely understandable. I do have a video clip from yesterday that has loaded that I thought I'd share.
Okay.
This is where did it go? Oh, there it is. Wow. So they have a big parade here for Canada Day in Yellowknife, and it was pretty big. It went on for about 45 minutes. So here's a clip I wanted to share with you that you might not have been expecting in this part of the world. That is the Yellowknife Southern Cameroon Cultural Association.
Cameroon, okay.
And I just missed the Filipino float before that. Yeah. So to give you an idea, uh, this is a very diverse city. It's not a monoculture. It's not what a lot of people would think it would be. It is very culturally diverse. And you can see the parade went on for quite a bit there. So yeah, just one little clip from the parade from yesterday.
Lovely, lovely.
I had I had put on the noise reduction thing, so that's why I didn't hear anything. It was very windy, so I'd had to cut else. Otherwise, you'd just hear, which
Right. Exactly.
not fun.
Over here, kids and cubs who were hoping for some bonus beaver yesterday, it did not come because the weather did clear up. Over the course of the day, we did get some sunshine, so I went out and enjoyed a little bit of Canada Day there. Sorry for getting your hopes up and then not delivering. But the weather was originally calling for wet weather pretty much the entire day. And fortunately, the skies cleared up. So I decided to partake in that case. So I'm sure I'm sure the DAMFAM will be understanding and forgive me. But
Oh
still,
yes, of course, of
forgiveness,
course.
forgiveness requested. Um, all right, kits and cubs. I heard in the chat yesterday, and I went to check it out. I don't know if you knew about it, but there was some eventful stuff in Yellowknife yesterday morning. Apparently, there was a little explosion.
Yes, it did occur. And funny thing was, we had walked by that address the day before, the night before, I guess you could say. I still don't know what the cause was, but there was an explosion, and I will put this on the screen so people can see it. Yeah, this is just well, I mean, the downtown's not big, big, big. It's a decent size for a city of 20,000, but yeah, 2:10 a.m., 54th Street and 52nd Avenue. There was an explosion. Don't know what it did, but it was a boat that exploded, and you can see with some of the debris there.
Wow.
It took out the garage, and yeah, they don't know what the cause was, but you can see there's not much boat left, but some of it is in the trees.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I don't know. Nobody was injured, thankfully.
Okay. Good.
I
Good.
don't know what the cause was yet. I'm sure they'll come up with a cause and report to us at some point in time. But yeah, yeah. And something that I did find interesting. So yesterday we went out and attended a bunch of the Canada Day festivities. As you well know, there was the scene from the parade that I just shared with you a minute ago.
Hmm.
But they have I'll call it multicultural alley, if you will. It's like a long laneway in this park where they were having the Canada Day celebrations, and representatives from every nation were there handing out food. It was like pretty awesome. Uh, you name the type of food they had so we sampled as much as we could, and it was some of the best food I've ever had. Video doesn't seem to want to load, so maybe I'll set it up for tomorrow. But so we left the park because we had a meeting we had to attend to at 2:30.
Right.
Went to the meeting, came back home, had a bite to eat, and then said, "Let's go out." And Bridget was tired, and I was tired, but I'm like, you know what? I don't know when I'm going to be in Canada Day on Yellowknife again. She's like, "Yeah, you're right." So we went back down to the park, and everything was over
Oh.
at 6 o'clock. So Canada Day in Yellowknife is Canada Day.
Hey.
There's nothing that took place at night. It was very quiet here at night, whereas that's out of the ordinary for me, coming
Right.
from Ottawa, where everything starts around noon and doesn't stop till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Right.
Right? So, yeah, it was a, kind of a bummer we missed out on a couple of things, but, we had a good time. We had, some great food. Bridget, of course, bumped into friends
Of course. She has friends everywhere.
because, Canada is such a small country and every
Right.
good guy, Tom, Dave, or Bill, but I'm sure they're very nice. Well, we happen to know them. So,
Ah, lovely.
yeah,
Oh,
it was kind of funny.
yeah.
Of all the places to bump into somebody from Ottawa, here.
Right. We had a decent Canada Day as well once things cleared up. I saw in the chat yesterday that there was a lot of people who were doing Canada Day pancakes, and
Mm,
we were intending to do that at home, but once because we weren't going to go out, but that's once we saw that the weather was starting to clear, we decided to go out for pancakes. There's one place here in Kingston that actually does make gluten-free pancakes, which is kind of interesting because it's really nice to be able to go out somewhere, say the word pancakes, and some magically appear at your table that you can actually eat. At least in my world, it's a nice switch. So, yeah, Beaver Sweetie and I were out doing that yesterday. Little share here for all of us, appropriately dressed in our red and
Nice.
white. Yes. So enjoying, and of course, we had whipped cream and bananas and strawberries to have more red and white on the pancakes. And of course, you see that the syrup jar is also red. And we were laughing because for certain kitchen things, there's a Canadian company called Trudeau that actually makes them.
Yes.
Trudeau is actually written on the
They make
syrup.
kitchenware. Yeah. Nothing to do with the prime minister or the former prime ministers, for that
Nothing.
matter. But yeah, just
And then you see, I've got the twins there with me. And so yesterday, instead of going to Confederation Park where there was going to be a lot of people, we decided to go at Fort Henry Hill to check out the Canada Day fireworks. And that proved to be a very smart decision because it was way less crowded. There was still a lot of people, but there's also much more room because if you've ever been to Kingston Confederation Park, is beautiful, but it's rather small, especially on Canada
right.
Day.
Yes.
Everybody comes from all around to come and watch the fireworks, and it did take a while to get out, of course, because there was a lot of people there. We were in the car for a bit. But when the fireworks were over, even though we're very far away from Confederation Park, we could hear the cheering from Confederation Park all the way on the hill, across the water and everything. So,
Water's a great carrier for sound.
yeah, absolutely. So we were sitting there and going, "Ooh, yeah, we definitely made the right decision because if we could hear them from there, that must have been a lot of people per square inch." I was a little nervous because
Oh,
that was the biggest crowd I'd been in since there. So it was kind of um, uh, people just move in any direction. People just decide they're going to go diagonally. People just decide they're going to back up without first looking if there's anybody behind. Now, of course, not everybody expects that there's going to be someone with crutches behind them, but it's kind of um, stressful to try to walk with your head on a swivel to see where everything's going while you're trying to look at the ground where you see where you're putting your crutches so you don't put one in a hole or in a crack or something. Go- so I didn't realize when we sat down finally, it was like, oh, okay, now I can de-stress. But for about the from the car to the place on the hill where we actually decided to sit, it was a little nerve-wracking. And then, of course, when we got moved from the pavement onto the grass, at 9 something at night, it's like, I don't have much light here to see where I'm going on uneven terrain. So, uh,
humble.
but everything worked perfectly fine. I'm still in one piece, no boo boos, no nothing. So it was well worth it because at first I was a little hesitant. My Beaver Sweetie had to convince me a little bit because I did want to go see the fireworks, but then I'm thinking, lots of people, lots of little, very small people who move very fast and change direction on a dime. Uh, and you know, I was worried, but it turns out my Beaver Sweetie had thought of the perfect place. So technically, actually, it was our friends who thought of it. But my Beaver Sweetie thought of asking them where's a better place other than Confederation Park to go watch them. And they suggested that, and he selected that out of all the options, and it was the right one. Great view as well, because we got to see everything sometimes with at Confederation Park because there's some buildings in front. But everything is launched from behind them, so we got to see absolutely everything. There was nothing obstructing the view whatsoever. So it was a beautiful display, and it was a nice way to end the day, given that we didn't get to go to the planned parade and all that kind of stuff around noon because the weather was a little iffy still at that point. But I watched the ceremony at noontime on the hill, and I was thinking of you because they actually did have a scene from what was going on in Yellowknife. They had some performers there on the show.
Mm.
So I was
Yeah,
looking through the crowd to see if I would see you and Mademoiselle Fox there, but I did not see you.
there was a lot of people out.
Yeah.
So yeah, the chances you were going to see us at all was slim to none. There was a lot of people there. So
Good stuff. All right. Hopefully you kits and cubs have had wonderful Canada days here. I'm seeing Kit Linda here saying, I prefer drone shows to fireworks. Fireworks are problematic for animals and people with PTSD. That is indeed true. And what was really interesting too is even though we were all the way on the hill, it's almost like, and I don't know why this is, but I've noticed this when there's fireworks, it's almost as soon as they start, the police sirens keep going off all over the place.
car alarms usually.
Yeah, these weren't car alarms. These were actually like police sirens. I'm thinking like,
Oh, weird.
who's taking this moment to break into houses?
Strange. Yeah.
So, but it was like for the probably 12 of the 15 minutes, there was like the sound of police sirens going in the background, then the fireworks stopped, and then they stopped too. It's like, I don't know why those two things go together, but car alarms, I understand with the vibrations and the shaking and stuff, but sirens, I have no idea. But it seems to be a thing, at least in Kingston anyway. Oh well.
You
There
got
you
me.
go.
I don't know what the cause is.
Yeah. Here you got PNC Bio here. Exactly. Think about that experience next time you're going somewhere crowded and everyone is using a wheelchair ramp as well as the stairs in order to get in quickly. Disabled people need their space. Yeah. And it's like when people are walking, it's almost like the rules of the road stop applying. Like a lot of people just like come out of a store fast and then turn as if it's like completely impossible that there will be somebody like around the edge of the store if you can't see be there, and that person could exactly have crutches or be using a wheelchair or something. And it's like, so there was a lot of ooh, whoa, and it's like no, you go. Clearly, you're on bicycles. Go. I'll wait till all 7 of you pass, and so yeah. There's
Something I've noticed here in Yellowknife is the amount of buildings that are completely accessible,
oh, lovely.
like ramps. Oh yeah, I noticed that yesterday, and I pointed that out to Bridget. I go, "Have you noticed that?" She goes, "Actually, I did notice that. Like almost like every federal building, of course, but almost all public buildings are completely accessible." I was just like, "Yeah, it's leading by example." And speaking of leading by example, I got to share this clip with you because you'll love this.
Okay.
This is another lead by example, the Northern Way. Now, remember, I live in Canada's capital of Ottawa, which is supposed to, be the shining bright beacon on the hill that leads by example and does things to set precedent. And we've missed out on some opportunities, and here's a big one.
Okay, here's leading by example, the city of Yellowknife. Car share co-op, drive green, drive electric, $10 an hour. And a charging station.
Nice.
Hey, Ottawa, get your shit together. Why aren't we doing this?
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good one. We have the rideshare stuff, but not like that.
No,
The car share.
But this car share is from the city of
Right.
Yellowknife,
Right.
not a private corp.
Right.
I'm like, and it's all electric. It's the Chevrolet Bolt. Like, why aren't we doing this?
That's brilliant.
You
That's really brilliant. Yeah.
Things I've seen here that just make me go, yeah, we could do better. We could do a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot better.
Yeah. Since we're talking about the North, just a little shout out to Kit Caprabone, who we saw in the comments on our show yesterday, who was writing in from Yukon. So apparently we have some kits and cubs all the way up there too. So hello.
Waving at the Yukon.
Happy
Sorry,
Canada Day.
waving at Yukon, not the Yukon. Don't
Actually,
say
both
the
are acceptable
Yukon.
now.
Oh, are they?
Yep, both are acceptable.
Okay.
Now.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But
no, I don't like this. I don't like to screw up.
No, actually, but yeah, I remember we read something like I think it was like 2 years ago or something like that into the show that they're now both acceptable. So there you go.
Okay. Waving to Yukon.
Yeah. talking about what PNC Bio mentioned about disability, since he mentioned it, I was going to do this later in the show. But as you know, on Canada Day, sometimes there's a whole bunch of new laws, new regulations, stuff like that come into effect. If you happen to be living in Ontario, and here, because we normally don't have a lot of good things to say about Doug Ford, because, but it seems here, according to something that I've picked up here. Quote, to help keep money in the pockets of those who need it, Ontario is amending regulations under the Ontario Disability Supports Program Act of 1997 and the Ontario Works Act of 1997 to fully exempt Canada disability benefit payments from being considered as income under Ontario Works, the Ontario Disability Support Program, and the Assistance for Children with Severe Disabilities Program. As a result, clients will not have their monthly payment reduced or lose access to health benefits provided through social assistance, unlike the case in Alberta. As well, Ontario is reducing the costs for seniors by amending various regulations to exempt Canada Disability Benefit as income for purposes of the Seniors Co-Payment Program, annual deductible waiver and co-payment fee reduction for the Ontario Drug Benefit, the Trillium Drug Program for households with high drug costs in relation to household income, determining the reduced copayment for the Hospital Chronic Care Copayment Program, and determining the reduced accommodation amount for the long-term care home rate reduction. So, got to give a little credit where it's due. But
Yeah.
because Danielle Smith, in her wisdom, just decided that, well, since Albertans on disability receive the highest amounts than everybody else, they don't need that extra $200, and she's forcing them to apply for it so that she can take the money and add it to general revenues. And if you do not, well, your benefits could be, your eligibility for benefits could be under review.
Can't even begin to tell you the ire I feel when it comes to that. Like, you're going to punch people while they're down because you can, force them to apply for a benefit and then take it away from them.
Yep.
I bite my tongue.
Yep.
Bite my tongue.
Yeah, I saw a couple of other places that there's a couple of other provinces also that had taken steps to make sure that it was excluded. But I'll have to go back and do another bit of research to figure out which ones those are specifically. But at least if you live in Ontario, you don't have to worry about that. And like I said, that legislation has been amended. So I would assume that if that Canada Disability Benefit goes up, hopefully in the future, those will still apply. They won't re-amend them. But yes, as Kit PNC Bio said, and we mentioned that on the show, the only reason that it is $200 is because that's about the amount that Prime Minister Trudeau then, at the time, was able to offer without provinces looking at it, or at least several provinces looking at it as an opportunity to claw it back. It seemed to be that was the amount that most of them were going to let slide without even making an attempt, because the original goal of that program was to get everybody over the poverty threshold. And that did not happen at all. Like, not even close.
You would fight it. Yeah.
Not even close. But that's the thing, right? It's the federal government giving something, and then the provinces decide they're going to claw it back or not spend it all on what it needs to be spent, and then turning around and then blaming Ottawa for the fact that things are terrible.
Once again,
the
problem is the Conservative premiers, folks.
Yep, indeed.
They do not have your best interests at heart. They just don't. They don't.
They just do not. So, but yes, at least a tiny bit of good news on that. But yes, again, when you think about it, that the amount is only $200 and what the original goal was, it's kind of weird. Yeah, Doug Ford really shouldn't get a cookie, I guess, for that. I guess in a way. But I mean, even if it was $200, she still did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it just goes to show. I was reading something yesterday that somebody was thinking, trying to come up with the definition of what evil really was, and about the only thing that they could come up with is that evil is lack of empathy. That's about
Well,
the common trait.
I'd say that's a pretty accurate statement. It certainly seems to be, it tracks. It tracks. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, just complete and total indifference to anyone else and what they may be going through.
I hate to say this, but I'm going to have to tap out early.
Okay.
I'm not feeling good.
Okay.
I think it's just lack of sleep, to be honest with you. But just before I go, I need to share something with you.
Yes.
This is what's the word I'm looking for to describe the complete lack of awareness?
Oh,
We
yes.
know that is it August 18th is the election date in Battle River
Yes.
Crowfoot?
Yes, August 18th.
So okay, so August 18th, and we're pulling for you, Bonnie. We're going to try and get as much support for you as possible. But this is just depraved indifference, ignorance. I don't know. So you can take a look at this. Okay, so this can't be real. Oh man, the spin that we're going to hear after this, folks. Buckle your seatbelts. Here we go. So what you're looking at is Pierre Poliev with his wife Anida in a 1995 Canadian red, I guess you could say, Rolls-Royce Corniche convertible, driving through Battle River Crowfoot in the Canada Day Parade. The riding that is rural, made up of rural folks who do rural things, and he's riding in a Rolls-Royce Corniche. So what's the spin? Because someone ordered a limo at Carney's leadership launch, but the company doesn't know who. A limousine outfitted to look like it was made by Rolls-Royce. It wasn't. Arrived at the Edmonton venue where Mark Carney launched his leadership bid. So what's going to be the spin on this? Mark Carney did it, so it's okay. Pierre did, except Mark Carney didn't do it. Somebody ordered it. It wasn't a Rolls-Royce. Pierre Poliev actually rode in a Rolls-Royce on Canada Day, a British automobile, which, okay, part of the Commonwealth, but it's not exactly what we would call the Volkswagen, the people's car. Maybe if he rode in the back of an F-150, but riding in a Rolls-Royce Corniche, dude, you just said to the people of Battle River Crowfoot, you are beneath me. You are not important enough for me to come and talk to you. I will ride it in my insulated $300,000 automobile. Like, man, look, we all predict he's going to win, and he probably will.
Unfortunately.
But my Schadenfreude for him wanting to lose is off the charts. I want him to lose so bad.
I know, me too.
Just because, look, people in Alberta who know go, he's not an Albertan. Sure, I know he was born there, but he hasn't lived here in 25 years. He's lived an insulated, isolated lifestyle, as evidenced by the fact that he rolled in a Rolls-Royce Corniche on Canada Day.
Yes. One of these things is not like the others.
I just can't. So on that note, folks, I'm going to have to go back to bed because I did not get a lot of sleep, and it is early in the morning here, earlier than normal for me, and we have a work day ahead of us. So
Yes.
I'm going to head her back to bed. Tomorrow I'll be reporting live from a different location.
Ooh.
Still in Yellowknife, of course, but a different location than I'm currently at. So until then, folks, you have yourselves a wonderful day, and thanks for coming out. We love and appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you soon.
Rest well, my friend. All right, kids and cubs, it's Mr. Grizzly with us, making a really, really huge effort to join us early in the morning, especially waking up that early to be with us. I keep on telling him he doesn't have to. Self-care comes first, but he is so committed to the DAMFAM that he definitely wants to make sure that he comes in and says hello to you every morning. So I'm very, very happy that he does. Just goes to show how far he's willing to go to be able to make sure that we have a good show. And I personally appreciate it myself. Kids and Cubs. So, since we're talking about them also, one of the things that happened prior to Canada Day, and I'm sure if you are living online, you've probably noticed, but it seems that Evita put that she is going back to her Pretty and Smart magazine type thing. And she decided that this, a couple of days before Canada Day, was a good thing. So it's her with an apple in hand, of course, reading a book entitled The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, which is actually a pretty decent book. However, if there's anything subtle about this photo, it's about as subtle as a sledgehammer to the forehead. Now, of course, she's mentioning this as not in the context of not caring about social media hate that's directed towards her. But when you run your own magazine, like when you have your own show, you decide on the editorial content that is to be presented. And editorial content should be chosen for your audience most of the time and not for you. And again, I'm guilty of it myself. During Pride, there's a moment when the Prime Minister made a speech at the flag raising on the Parliament Hill, and of course I spoke to it, but definitely from a much more personal perspective. So yes, I mean that's the advantage of having your own show is that you can bring your own personal perspective at certain times, but you would hope that it was to be helpful, right? And completely altruistic in those instances. And while there is indeed a message out there that's important about making yourself as immune as possible to social media hate, because there are people, and some of these, well, people, there are some people, but mostly there are accounts that are, probably not real people in terms of necessarily behind them, or people not necessarily being themselves, but just doing what they feel they need to do for engagement, clicks, and money, regardless of whether or not that's what they feel or not. Because we learned that a while ago when we saw Facebook accounts pro and against organizing rallies pro and against things, and they were both tied to the same person. So it was really, whatever they believed, their own personal beliefs were pretty much agnostic to the cause, right? It was just let's inflame both sides and generate some clicks, and whether it's for the pro side or the against side, since we run both accounts, all the money comes to us, right? But there's just this particular way that them two go about doing their business that has the best way I could call it is a soapy film of ick over it. And this is seems to definitely be one. To me, it's the Canadian version of Melania walking around in that jacket that said, "I don't care, do you?" on the back of it. So yeah, you know, the Polyevs will do what the Polyevs will do, I guess. But when you add that to the whole general, no, fuck your feelings, but mine, you need to make your whole existence vibe of that particular movement that they label as conservatism, but is not. It just seems to be one more thing on the pile. So there you go. Yesterday also, how would I put it? Totally unrelated to this. Well, not totally unrelated, but similar movement in the United States. It seems that noted televangelist Jemmy Swaggart finally somebody came to get him. finally, and has passed away. Uh, Again, as the saying goes, it's always important to speak good of the dead. Jimmy Swaggart is dead. Good. And I will leave it at that. I said something a little different yesterday, and had a couple of people going, "Oh!" And it's like I basically said hell got a little bit hotter today, which had a lot of people going, "Oh!" And I said, "Sorry, I call them like I smell them. I just do." So yeah, for those who follow the bad people, um, and yeah, but enough about them for now. We do have to talk about Pierre a little bit later, again, because he did a couple of things that were particularly shameless and tragically hilarious. So we'll get to that. But we're trying to keep the good vibes going. Um, Before we keep the good vibes going, however, there is one other little thing that happened in British Columbia because, well, it's Canada Day, but as we saw in Yellowknife with what happened to the boat, not all the explosions were in the sky and colorful and made people go, ooh and ah. There was another explosion, this time in British Columbia, and it was at the offices MLA Bowen Ma, who I'm not sure if they're still the emergency preparedness minister, but they were prior um, to the most recent election. But yes, there was definitely an explosion at their constituency office. Um, David Eby has called the incident profoundly concerning and troubling, and it definitely is. So, at the time that we heard about it, there was fortunately nobody injured, but an active police investigation. I don't know if there's been any updates on that yet. I have not had time to check. Bowen Ma, of course, is also a new mother. Uh, so, this is particularly disconcerting. Um, but there was a brief interview yesterday with Ujjal Dosanjh, who used to be the premier of British Columbia, and just like to present it to you because when he was in office as well, it's not like he didn't have a couple of experiences as well with this type of how would I call it? I don't want to say hate because we don't know motives, but with this kind of resorting to kinetic means to make a point. So, kids and cubs, I'm just going to present this for you, and that will be the end of most of the heavy stuff, and then we'll get into some of the more light and celebratory stuff to keep the feeling. But it's important because, uh, our elected representatives are people we elect to represent us, and this type of threatening environment is not only an attack on them or their political ideology or the political party they represent or anything. It's an attack on all of us because an attack um, in a democracy, if this type of intimidation, that's the word probably I was looking for more than hate, this type of intimidation is allowed and is given license and is encouraged and is not very severely cracked down upon. Um, you know, Today, it might be the representative of a party you don't support, but tomorrow it could be representative of your party, a party that you do support, or somebody that's working for you. And this is just not on. This is not it, and we can't allow this. We can't have this. So, and we've been reporting on this, violence and threats and intimidation towards our elected officials who are doing the work of democracy. And yes, while they don't always do it well, and while we have a lot to criticize on many occasions, criticism is supposed to be constructive. Protest is supposed to have a beneficial purpose. And this was just not it. So, Mr. Ujjal Dosanjh here, Kits and Cups.
We're now joined by Ujjal Dosanjh. He's the former Premier of BC, former Attorney General, former Vancouver MP and Health Minister, and he joins us from Toronto. Ujjal, we appreciate your time. What went through your mind when you heard about what happened near Bowen Ma's office?
Well, it's concerning that you have this kind of explosion or explosions, the office of a sitting MLA. It's rare in BC, but obviously it's happened before. And there's more and more violence in our society, and it's scary. And it is not the kind of Canada that, when I came to Canada in 1968, it seemed so far away. It felt a lot more peaceful and a lot more, calm. And that's not the case anymore, obviously.
And now, when we say this has happened before, you had a similar situation outside your office a number of years ago. What can you share about that?
Well, it was the year 99. I was the Attorney General, and somebody threw a Molotov cocktail into the office and damaged some computers and some other things and endangered the lives of tenants that lived upstairs. Because my office was on the ground floor on East 33rd and Victoria Drive. And it was scary. I wasn't the first one to hear about it. My constituency assistant, who was the contact listed on the emergency, he was the first one to hear about it. But it was scary. And we had our own feelings about who might have done it. I've been fighting all kinds of battles all my life. And we had suspicions, but nobody was ever arrested or prosecuted for that offense.
You've also been an MP and the health minister I mentioned. Threats against MPs are up 800% in the last 5 years, and that's in a report by the House of Commons. What do you think needs to be done to perhaps better ensure the safety of politicians in Ottawa and at the provincial level?
Well, I think obviously, they should all take precautions, but more importantly, I think that we all need to begin to speak up against this increase in number of threats and violence against public persons, people who are in politics, people who are ministers, people who are advocates, people who are social justice advocates or other kinds of advocates in society, not just the elected people. I've had threats when I wasn't elected, and lots of threats and assault as a result of my advocacy of a particular point of view. And that has continued, and it's not acceptable in Canada. We are a wonderful place, a great country, and we should all make the effort to denounce these kinds of things very seriously and make sure that we can allow for peace and goodwill to prevail in this country.
When you talk about moving beyond just the threats against politicians and other public figures, BC, as you know, has seen a rise in high-profile violent incidents. The Lapu Lapu Day tragedy festival tragedy comes to mind. What action would you like to see either authorities or others take to prevent these incidents from happening, and then holding to account those who were found guilty if they are?
Well, obviously, investigations and prosecutions are very, very important in these things, and stiffer sentences. But I think more important is to prevent these things from happening in the first place. Therefore, all politicians, all people in public life, whether elected or not, whether just, activists or elected MLAs or MPs, I think we all need to sort of, one, conduct ourselves in ways that we don't aggravate the situation. Two, that we actually talk about Canada as being a very beautiful, tolerant place, caring place, that it has been for a long, long time, that we need to actually improve it now from what it has become.
Former Premier of BC and former Attorney General and former MP Ujjal Dosanjh, we appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So there you go, kids and cubs, from someone who's had a little bit of a personal experience with these types of incidents. Yeah, this is not the Canada that we want. The Canada that we want, since we're talking about Pierre, let's talk about Bonnie a little bit. Is something more, a little more like this, I would say. This is from Bonnie's Facebook page. Yes, so while I was running around in Rolls Royce, Bonnie Critchley was, 22 years of service, was with members, or members, I guess, former other veterans, and doing her Canada Day thing with them, marching with them. And she had to say here, Happy Canada Day, but let us not forget the fallen at Beaumont Hamel, lest we forget. Nor shall we fail to acknowledge the Treaty 6 and Treaty 7 territory we stand on, or that signing that gave our writing its name. The differences between those who serve their communities versus those who expect to be served are not hard to find. This is our home, our writing in Battle River Crowfoot. And I would like to draw your attention to that final paragraph. The differences between those who serve their communities and those who expect to be served are not hard to find. Bonnie Critchley, marching with other veterans, versus Pierre being driven around in a Rolls Royce Corniche. I would think that final paragraph spoke volumes. I found it particularly, there's a word in French, percutant. It's hard-hitting. It got me, it made me pay attention. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, you're not playing, you're walking, you're talking. And I happen to have a particular fondness for people who are consistent over time. And that is the case for Bonnie Critchley. So if you want to support her, because the campaign is officially underway, and I was going to do this yesterday and then forgot before we signed off, so I'm going to do it today. If you can donate to her, because it is a federal election, and therefore you can donate from coast to coast to coast, well, this here is how you would do it, kids and cubs. So I'll just put a little thing on the screen for you, and therefore you can look at it. Real change that takes more than words. It takes boots on the ground and your support. A little play to the boots, not suits thing that Pierre was talking about, because Bonnie Critchley, whether it's her cowboy boots or whether it's her military boots, is definitely boots and not suits. So if you would like to help Bonnie keep fighting for the Battle River Crowfoot seat, then you can send your donation to donations@bonniecritchleyindependent.com. That's donations at BONNIECRITCHLEY independent, INDEPENDENT, so Bonnie Critchley Independent, all in one word, .com. And there you can support her, do your little bit to try to make it such that Rerun Polyev does not get a seat just because he feels that he's entitled to it, and get someone in the House of Commons who will actually be a voice for Battle River Crowfoot, not just gain the seat and then immediately start campaigning for a prime minister again and start ignoring or forgetting the constituents who put him there, as he has shown in the past. is his pattern, or at least is his instinct, if not pattern. Also, if you happen to be living in the area, kits and cubs, as Bonnie Critchley told us during her chat with us, it's not only about donations, but it is also about some help on the ground, because she needs some volunteers. So if you are able to do that, then kits and cubs, please do. And again, it will be the same extension, but it will be volunteers at bonniecritchleyindependent.com. If you happen to be there and want to join the team, we need volunteers for door knocking, phone outreach, community events, sign teams to put them up, and some social media support. Again, as she says here, the by-election date has been set for August 18th. That's just weeks away. So if you want to get involved, that's the way to do it. So a little early democracy is something that you do here on the show today. But just sometimes juxtaposition reveals a lot. Yeah, the image of Pierre, what he was doing on Canada Day, and the image of Bonnie and what she was doing on Canada Day. Choose your fighter, right? Juxtaposition, it reveals a lot sometimes. All right. More stuff for you here, because Canada Day happened, and it was a particularly memorable Canada Day this year, with everything that's going on in the United States. It seems that there were a little more people came out, and there was a little more red and white, and the flag waving was just a little more enthusiastic than usual. You know, we're proud Canadians, and we're definitely patriotic, but we are patriotic in a typically Canadian way, usually. And yeah, yesterday was a little more boisterous, if one would like to use that term. And of course, I personally happen to be more of a boisterously loud patriotic Canadian, which is, I'm sure, I keep on making the joke, I'm sure surely illegal in at least 6 provinces and 1 territory. um, but yes, I am completely all in for the red and white. But most people are a little more subdued than I am, and it was nice to see people um, uh, raise the game, I guess I could say. And you watch, if you're watching the television coverage of what's going on the Hill and in other cities and towns all throughout the country, you know. And they usually have little segments of people talking to the camera and saying what it is that they love about Canada, and people of all different ages and cultures and whatnot. And you get that sense, right? That uh, we've got something special and really unique going on here, right? That whole cultural mosaic thing, for one, but just the way that our pride and our patriotism really does seem to come from the soul, right? I'm not talking about those who are doing it performatively, right? But just, people are just, they realize that Canada is a good place, and that there's no place in the world that they would rather be or rather live, and are, you know, happy to live and let live, happy to coexist, happy to be kind and neighborly and all of that. Um, but we're not pushovers. Right? We do stand up for ourselves. I mean, stand on guard for thee. It's right in the national anthem, right? We do that. So, we'll take a good joke. We'll take some good ribbing. We'll even laugh at ourselves. But there's a line, and it should not be crossed. And Canadians know where it is, right? And when you do, then all of a sudden, as the expression comes, it's elbows up, right? So it was nice and really, it did my beaver heart a lot of good to see people just upping the, if not the volume, the intensity a little bit, just allowing themselves, because I like to frame it, a additional sparkle, I would say, right? They didn't dim their own sparkle. Yes, they just let it shine, and that is always a good thing for me. Again, not not in your face, right? Not in any way that is off-putting, but just a little extra, and you can see it on at Libret Frats. I think the National Capital Commission had um, calculated that there was about 8,000 people there yesterday. I'm not sure how accurate that is. It seemed on TV to be more, but then again, you know, television screens and captures uh, are sometimes misleading because it's how things are framed, of course. But everybody seemed to be having a delightfully good time, which is nice as well. And we had a whole bunch of people come out for it. There were performances all across the country, but on the hill during that noontime and in the evening, we had Rock Voisin and Mitsu was there, and Mazayan was there, Edith Butler, great Acadian performer, um, Amanda Marshall, Sarah McLaughlin, uh, Billy DuPage, who I discovered I did not know, and really liked her performance. And actually went out to actually stopped what I was doing, and then I went out and checked out her YouTube page to see what else she's got going there. Um, so right, it's a beautiful day, and everybody brings their best. And of course, Tom Cochrane was there as well, and that made me think of what Mr. Grizzly was saying yesterday about Ragged Ass Road, because he had an album called Ragged Ass Road that was very, very popular, that came out in 1995. So I'm like noticing all these links throughout the day as well. So I had lots of smiles uh, throughout the day, just little moments that happened, and it's like, "Oh, yay!" A little cheering on the inside. But yes, the Federal Heritage Department counted 8,000 people attending the afternoon ceremony, which is a little less attended than the evening one, of course. And it was very hot yesterday as well. I think the temperatures hit 33 degrees Celsius, which obviously can affect the number of people that come out, especially for the noon ceremony, because, high noon sun is not exactly at noon. Sometimes it's at a different time, but that's where things are the most intense. And not everybody, me included, do very well in that kind of heat. But it seems that it was. Great day, no incidents, as usual is the case, just this big love in where people come together and have a good time to celebrate the nation. And we had some special company this year uh, at the event because, well, there was royalty there. It wasn't very heavily advertised, although I had seen some stuff before. But Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh, was present at the ceremonies. He was also in Prince Edward Island earlier, I think, during the week. Um, because, well, Prince Edward Island, it kind of makes sense. And yes, he was present, and he was invited on stage and had a couple of words to say. So since we are here and we are celebrating Canada, let's take a little moment for those of you who did not watch the show and see what message he had for us on our very special day. The afternoon ceremonies were hosted by Sonia Benezra, for those of you who are a big fan of Musique Plus, which was the French Much Music. She was a very noted VJ on that channel and a big talk show star in Quebec. She had her own show for a while there. So it's nice to see her. It's a familiar face for those of us of my generation. So there's Sonia Benezra introducing the Duke of Edinburgh, and let's see what he had to say.
The Duke of Edinburgh. His Royal Highness Prince Edward, the Duke of Edinburgh.
I'm not really emotional, it's just a bit warm out here today. Hello, Canada. Bonjour, Canada. It's a
pleasure for me to be here in Ottawa on this day to celebrate Canada Day.
And I want to thank the Governor-General, Your Excellency, and the Prime Minister for your invitation to come and join you today in what is evidently quite a party. I also bring you Their Majesty's greetings on this day. They send you their very best wishes and they do want to say thank you for the wonderful welcome that they received just a few weeks ago when they were here. And they realized it was a very short visit and it was only to Ottawa. But I know they want to come back and they want to spend more time here and to visit more provinces in due course. And I know they couldn't say it, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all the wonderful messages of support from so many of you to their Majesties, and also the wonderful wishes you sent to my brother for a speedy recovery. I know he really appreciates it, and thank you. And I think I can speak for all my family when I say we take immense pride in Canada and Canadians for all that you do, for the work you do overseas in the global scene, for all those who give back to their communities, for all those who choose to serve their country, especially those in uniform. And I want you to know that we always stand ready to support you when you need it, to offer encouragement, not that you need much encouragement, but to offer your encouragement, and to shine a light on where there's really excellent work and practice going on, and to recognize and celebrate achievement, and occasionally give a hug. But today this is about celebrating you as a country, who you are, and what you should be proud of. Your land, Minister, you said it so eloquently. What a fantastic, amazing land you have here. Your people from the First Nations to the most recent immigrants, the skills and the talents that have shaped your journey to where you are today. And your culture and heritage, the arts, so brilliantly displayed today, so rich and varied traditions, the way you tell your stories and the values you hold them dear. But most importantly, your achievements. So we may be 158 years since Confederation, but the story of how you and your forebears have built this nation is a much longer story and should be celebrated as well. So, let's dispel any negative thoughts. Today is about positivity. Today is about celebrating what we have, what we're fortunate to have, and what is right, and how fortunate we are in what we do have. Our friends, our families, and also what brings us together, what unites us. And seeing this sea of red and white, there is only one sense that I have here. And today is truly a celebration of you, your home, in your land, strong and free. Happy Canada Day. Bonne fête du Canada. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
So there you go, kits and cubs. The Duke of Edinburgh coming to celebrate in our joy. Seeing some comments there going, he's got much more riz than his brother. Yeah, he does seem to be a bit more fun and engaging and animated, doesn't he? But then again, heavy is the head that wears the crown as well. So, but yes, absolutely, definitely. Nice to have. It's always nice to be able to have a little bit of pomp and ceremony in addition to what we usually have here. But twice in 1 year is a pretty interesting interesting statement that we might be making. I'm sure that did not go unnoticed on the other side of the border. Yesterday, as well, of course, we had the Prime Minister address us, as is the case usually for Canada Day. And the Prime Minister is not always in town for Canada Day. Sometimes they have to be away on business and for work. But in this case, this year, the Prime Minister was in town for the event. I apologize for that little sound thing. And it's his first as a Prime Minister, his first time addressing us on Canada Day. And there's a lot going on, of course. So let's see what the Prime Minister had for us yesterday here.
Introduce him on a Canada Day. Not only is he the leader of our great nation, he is also a passionate advocate for sport. Veuillez maintenant accueillir notre
Please
nouveau
welcome
Premier
our new
ministre.
Prime Minister.
Here is our Prime Minister, the Right Honourable, le très honorable Mark Carney.
Mon Dieu. Wow.
My goodness.
That is a hard act to follow. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Victor, for all the service to Canadian sport, to global sport. And may Jonathan David be the first Canadian to ever touch that trophy in a year's time. Son Excellence, le Gouverneur Général, Son Altesse,
His Excellency, His Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh, Sonia, the Minister of Fun, or rather the Minister of Identity and Culture. He's the Minister for Fun, obviously. And thank you to all the invited guests and artists who are with us here today. But especially, thank you all.
What a crowd, what a capital, what a country! Only two words. Only two words. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. There is no place I'd rather be right now than here, the true North, strong and free, celebrating Canada Day with all of you. I've had the privilege the last 6 months of crisscrossing our country. I've had to go visit some other countries for work, and I have never been prouder to say, I am Canadian. Nous sommes Canadiens.
We are Canadian.
And I'm particularly proud that in a world that's fraught with division, that we under the maple leaf have considered our options, and we've decided not to pull apart and fight, but to come together and to build. Because that's the Canadian way. That's what this country has done. Similar times when there's been these big inflection points in history, Canadians have chosen to come together and to step up. À la crête du Vimy pendant la Première Guerre mondiale,
on the battlegrounds of Vimy Ridge during the First World War, on the beaches of Normandy during the Second World War, in the houses of Gander after the terrorist attack on September the 11th.
We find ourselves in a situation where the world is being convulsed. We find ourselves in a situation where our economy is being attacked by a trade war that we didn't start. We find ourselves in a situation where our values are being tested by attacks on democracy and freedoms, attacks that we must resist. And once again, as the world becomes more divided and dangerous, Canadians are uniting. So over there. We're united. We're uniting and we're putting our values into action. Notre réponse est de bâtir
Our response is to build a strong Canada. This is what we're doing with Bill C-5. That was just passed by a large majority of MPs in the Parliament.
Is a new national building permit that allows us, indeed, it compels us to come together and to build, baby, build. To build our nation in full partnership with Indigenous peoples. To build, and thank you, Nathan and Victoria, for honoring us here today. There you are, yes. Together, we will build one Canadian economy connected by major projects, powered by Canadian energy, transformed by Canadian technology, and crafted by Canadian workers. Together, we will break down barriers so that you can buy Canadian anywhere, and you can work in Canada everywhere. Ouais. Ensemble.
Together, we will rebuild, rearm, and reinvest in our armed forces. Yes. This is crucial. We want Canadian leadership to not only be defined by the strength of our values, but also by the value of our strength. Together, we are taking over the control of our future.
Together, we're writing our own story, not having it dictated to us by others. And Stephen, I like your idea. We have the fusion of Deadpool and Dune. We get Rain City Ryan into 007. This is Canada. Nothing could be better. Your Royal Highness, as you alluded to a few weeks ago in a historic throne speech, your brother King Charles told Canadians, and I quote, "We must be clear-eyed. In a world, the world is a more dangerous and uncertain place than at any point since the Second World War. And Canada is facing challenges that are unprecedented in our lifetimes." The King went on to stress that at this hinge moment in history, there is, and I quote, an incredible opportunity for renewal, an opportunity to think big and act bigger. And that is how Canada carved out the St. Lawrence Seaway in 5 short years. Et c'est comment nous avons organisé
And
l'Expo
that's how we
67
organized Expo 67 in 4.5 years.
It's time once again to harness the same industrious spirit, to do things we previously thought impossible at speeds not seen for generations. So it's time that we build twice as many homes using Canadian technology, Canadian skilled workers, and Canadian lumber. It's time to build new trade and energy corridors with reliable partners. In partnership with the provinces, the territories, and Indigenous peoples.
It's time to create hundreds of thousands of good jobs in skilled trades. And it's time to make Canada an energy superpower for energy that are green and traditional.
It's time to make our companies more competitive while we're fighting climate change. You know, not far from here, over a century ago, Thomas D'Arcy McGee eloquently put it that Canadians are at their best when we lift ourselves to the level of our destinies. Now, Canada is already the greatest country in the world. But our destiny is to make it greater still. And greatness isn't defined by words, it's achieved by actions. Greatness isn't something we just say, it's what we do for ourselves, but particularly for others. So, while we work to build the strongest economy in the G7, we know that that isn't an end in itself. But it's the way, it's the means through which all Canadians can live in security, in dignity, and in harmony. And while we enjoy this Canada Day with our friends and family, and I have to say, Sandra, we are off to a great start here. While we enjoy this Canada Day with friends and family, we remember that too many Canadians are still struggling and suffering. Alors que nous profitons nos parcs
As
et
we
de nos
enjoy
lacs,
our parks and our lakes, we cannot forget climate change that is burning down our forests and destroying biodiversity.
And while we enjoy peace and security at home, we witness the wars and terrors abroad. After 158 years, Canadians have accomplished so much in times of peace and war, in our laboratories and in our galleries, on the ice and in the swimming pool, on our land and in space, in our classrooms, our boardrooms, our community centers. We have so much to celebrate, and today we celebrate. But we also know that we have much more to accomplish. We are a country that is great because, in part, we know we can be even better. We're a country that does things because they're right, not because they're easy. A people that see kindness as a virtue, not a weakness. And now's the time to build a Canada worthy of those values, a Canada worthy of its great people, a Canada for all and for all time. Merci beaucoup. Vive le Canada.
There, you will notice at the end, Vive le Canada, which reminds me a lot of Jean Chrétien, because he'd always end his speeches with that, but a bit more of enthusiastic one. Vive le Canada! And I know that Mark Carney does have a lot of affection specifically for Jean Chrétien. And so, yeah, it's nice to hear Vive le Canada as well to end that. So, Prime Minister, his first ever Canada Day address, of course, bringing attention to the fact that we are in a particularly unique moment, particularly when you consider our very rapidly changing relationship with our neighbor to the south. But as usual, expressing his trademark confidence in our abilities to take on the challenge that presents and to emerge from it on the other side stronger and better than we have been before, even though it is going to be hard work and lots of work remains yet to be done. So clearly in theme with what he's been presenting to date, and there was a couple of references there, in case you missed them. Or didn't understand what he was talking about there, but when he was talking about Jonathan David and getting his hands on the trophy, he was talking about, of course, the World Cup, that is of soccer, that is coming to North America in 2026, and hopefully Jonathan David, who is a player on Team Canada, would be able to get his hands on the trophy. And when he was mentioning Ryan and Deadpool and James Bond, it seems that very sought-after Canadian director Denis Villeneuve, director of the films Arrival and both the Dune films that came out, has been tapped to be the director of the next movie in the James Bond 007 series. So it'll be very interesting to see what type of mood and vibe and feel he brings to that franchise. So yes, Canadians achieving things everywhere. Also, at the ceremony, I forgot to mention, of course, Amanda Marshall. How could I forget her? I mean, I love her enough to go see her in concert, so should definitely mention that she was there. And she was there both at the noon and the evening ceremony. And speaking about other artists and other people, yesterday also was, if you had been watching TV before the evening ceremonies, there was the Canada Walk of Fame ceremony going on as well, inductees to that. And we had a whole bunch of people. We had Tanya Williams, who was a star on The Young and the Restless, who was inducted. There was Our Lady Peace, the famous band that was inducted to the Hall of Fame. And you had people from all walks of life. You had people from the world of medicine, can't remember his name, Tyrone, but I can't remember his last name off the top of my head, who's a doctor that pioneered a lot of stuff having to do with cardiac surgery, brought into the Walk of Fame. So Tyrone David, you don't usually hear about doctors and scientists and whatnot being elevated to the Walk of Fame and considered stars. But yeah, in this case, this man is definite rock star. He pioneered so many techniques and has performed so many different surgeries. And among the group as well, there was the founder of the Four Seasons hotel chain, Isidore Sharp. And he was brought in as an entrepreneur, not only for that, but of course, for having been inspired by Terry Fox. And because he had lost, Isidore Sharp had lost a son to cancer as well. And so he was very moved by Terry Fox when he started his Marathon of Hope. And when it became clear that Terry Fox, his cancer had returned and he would not be able to complete his run, and that would probably be that the end of his life was imminent. He's the one that came up with the idea of the Terry Fox Marathon of Hope, the run, not the Marathon of Hope, but the annual run that takes place and now has to raise money for cancer research, and that takes place in many countries around the world. So he was honored for both of those things. And at the afternoon ceremony, it was really interesting because there was a moment of tribute to Terry Fox, which unfortunately we can't show because there's music behind it. They used the Tragically Hips song "Courage" to it, and there was a video and then a dance number from the dance troupe that was brought there, and then they brought his brother on stage, who was doing. There's now a bike ride for hope. Of course, for Terry Fox and to raise money for cancer research. So not only do we have the run, but now there's a bike ride. So all of that was brought together in that moment. When the Prime Minister also mentioned Ryan Reynolds, there was a specific reason, because Ryan Reynolds was there on stage as well with 4 other people who were inducted as officers of the Order of Canada. Which, of course, that's some of the highest honors that we can have, and the Order of Canada has 3 levels, of course. And so the officers, I believe, is the second tier. There's members first when you're inducted into the Order of Canada, and then there are officers that are which is like the second level, which you're brought in, and then there are companions, which is the absolute highest level that you can get. And yesterday on Canada Day, as it often happens, there were 83 particular inductees into the Order of Canada, either at higher levels or becoming members for the first time. But there were 5 of them who were brought on stage at on the Hill to receive their honors from the Governor General in front of everyone. And Ryan Reynolds was one of them, and I wish I could remember the other 4 off the top of my head, and I cannot, unfortunately, and that is terrible because I should be able to do that, given that I watched it. But yes, there were definitely there we go. I have the names here. So 5 particular exceptional Canadians. Heather Rankin, of course, from the Rankin family, the musical group, famous for Fare Thee Well Love, and I know you feel the same way too, if you know those songs. And of course, Reynolds, famous actor, of course, and also humanitarian. Then they had Deantha Ray Edmonds, Scott Oak, right, sportscaster. And Scott Oak lost a son, unfortunately, as well to, I believe, addiction, and has done a lot of work for sobriety. And then Kim Thuy Lang as well. And Kim Thuy Lang is a Vietnamese-born novelist whose acclaimed literature chases the Vietnamese diaspora, highlighting the migrant experience and learning of a new culture. So she's the author of a book named Rue that came out in 2009, which was adapted to a film in 2023, as well as Man. I don't know if I'm pronouncing these correctly, in 2013, V in 2016, and M in 2020. Her works have been published worldwide, and she actively supports causes as well that strive to provide a better understanding of autism. With regard to Deantha Ray Edmonds, because I sort of glossed over her, she's the first Indic professional classical soprano in Canada, recognized as one of our country's most prolific emerging creators of performance works, and she's been a tireless ambassador of the centuries-long traditions of the Nunatsiavut. Let's try that again. Nunatsiavut. There we go, pronouncing that correctly. Nunatsiavut musicians and an agent of reconciliation. Through her recordings and performances around the globe, she has empowered Indigenous voices and revealed their stories to the world. And Scott Oak, as we mentioned, you know him from CBC Sports, but also in memory of his late son, he co-founded the Bruce and Ann Oak Memorial Foundation and the Bruce Oak Recovery Center, which serve marginalized populations across Canada. So some very, very distinguished Canadians who were Heather Rankin and Ryan Reynolds were raised to the level of officer because they were members before, and Deantha Ray Edmonds, Scott Oakes, and Kim Thuy Tan were inducted into the Order of Canada for the first time as members. And so a big day for them, very, very, it is the absolute highest honor that one can give in Canada for your service to the country, and not just service, but distinguished service over a very sustained period of time. So it's a let's put it this way. It's something that I would certainly love to get one day as an honor. But when you look at the size of the accomplishments of these people, the bar is set very high, and I doubt very much that will ever achievements that are that significant. But it's always nice to dream that one day that could happen to you. So there we have them on the stage here, from right to left. If you are looking, sorry, I have to get my left and right, from left to right. If you are watching on your screen there, that is Kim Thuy Lee Than, and then Scott Oak, then Deantha Ray Edmonds, then Ryan Reynolds, and finally, in red, Heather Rankin. Oh, sorry, they're in a different order here. Sorry. Of course, the Governor General is after in the image. Sorry, I was not looking at the screen because I had to get the names at the same time. So let's try that again. We got Kim Thuy Lee Than, Scott Oak, Deantha Ray Edmonds, then the Governor General of Canada, Mary Simon, then Heather Rankin, and then Ryan Reynolds at the end. And so, yeah, great moment there. And of course, when it comes to the Order of Canada Kits and Cubs, like I said, there were many other inductees to the order over the course at another ceremony, 83 in all. And some of the more, some names that you might know, John Manley, of course, MP and cabinet minister, was there, named Bonnie Henry, who is a public health officer in British Columbia, was named Maureen McTeer, respected Canadian lawyer, and you might know her as the wife of Joe Clark, who was brought in as a member of the Order of Canada. Theresa Tam, of course, the Chief Public Health Officer of Canada during the COVID-19 pandemic, was invested. Tanya Williams, as we mentioned, not only did she get her start on the Canada Walk of Fame, but also became a member of the Order of Canada. And she wasn't only for her success as a character on The Young and the Restless, but also as a founder and executive artistic director of the Real World Screen Institute and Real World Foundation. She helped create a manner to celebrate diversity in film, which was very important at a time where there wasn't very much in Canada. Bruce Anderson, who you might know, famous pollster, and if you watch any of the Peter Mansbridge, the Bridge podcast, when he has Good Talk on Friday, he's usually on there with Chantal Hébert, and you've often seen him on the news. Marc-André Blanchard, who has just been tapped to be, I believe, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff. So he was definitely brought in. He was brought into the Order of Canada as well in his own right. So yeah, many other people, of course, and that were brought in to the Order of Canada and getting much deserved honors. Elise Gravel, a children's book author and illustrator, who has published some 50 picture books internationally that have been translated into over a dozen languages. So just people with absolutely amazing contributions to the country. Again, sustained contributions that were internationally recognized in over a long period of time. So yeah, always it's always nice. The Order of Canada. It's always something that always brings me a little joy when I see those things, those ceremonies going on, because it just reminds you of how many wonderful people that we have in this country who give so much of themselves, not only to their specific pursuits, but those individual pursuits. When you bring all of yourself and you give yourself to them, they do make the country better. And a lot of these people, some of these are big names, but some of these people are names that you've never heard of unless you're in that field specifically. And a lot of people work quietly in the background or just go about doing their thing. And when you get that letter, you get that call, and you say, "Well, somebody nominated you, and you have been deemed worthy." I can't tell you how it feels because it's never happened to me, but I would assume that you might be a little bit beside yourself for a little bit and just can't believe it, and maybe overwhelmed with warm fuzzies because, like I said, it is some of the highest honors that you can have. Exactly. Kit Carroll, she played Olivia, Dr. Olivia, on the Young and the Restless, when we're talking about Tanya Williams. So double honor for her on that day. All right, kits and cubs. Yes, indeed. Bonnie Henry did say a couple of wild things about COVID. Some people were upset that she was selected. A little more of a controversial nomination there, from what I can gather. Indeed, that's a good point. Glad that you brought that up, Kit Saucy. Of course, if we're talking Canada Day, we also have to be talking about our Governor General. As we mentioned, she was there to help to induct these 5 people into the Order of Canada. Again, 2 as officers and 3 as members. But she also had some words for the nation with regard to the day and what it is that she wanted to tell us, and the message that was important for her to leave with us. And therefore, kids and cubs, I also have that for you here. So let's see what the Governor General had to say.
Honorable Mary Simon.
Good afternoon. Bonjour. Prime Minister, Minister, Your Royal Highness, Your Honor, National Indigenous leaders, Nathan Obed and Victoria Pruden, and dignitaries. Chers Canadiens et Canadiennes,
Dear Canadians,
fellow Canadians, Nunahadika, it's so good to see you celebrating and enjoying this show. Quel bon spectacle.
what a fantastic show.
Meeting Canadians this year, from coast to coast to coast, I saw many reasons to celebrate. J'ai vu de la résilience.
I saw
J'ai vu de
resilience,
la compassion.
compassion,
J'ai vu de l'espoir.
and hope.
Your Royal Highness, your presence here today and the recent visit of Their Majesties King Charles and Queen Camilla are clear demonstrations of your fondness for our country. Today, I want to share with you what I like about Canada. We share this vast land, and I love that in all of its enormous geography, it's often the little things that transform lives and communities. The small steps you take each day really count, and they add up. Les pas que vous faites chaque jour.
The small steps that you take each day count.
What I have seen is people acting with kindness, teaching children, building bridges, understanding between people. We are on a journey of reconciliation, making a path with passion and compassion, courage and care. It began by truly listening, by honoring the truth of the past and holding space for the pain and resilience carried by Indigenous peoples. Kindness is the thread that weaves our communities together. Ce que vous faites chez vous, dans votre communauté,
What you do at home in your community gives life to a bigger picture. It's what builds this great country.
It often takes ayuinata. Ayuinata is an Inuit word. It means you have perseverance in the face of adversity. It means never give up. Cela signifie de ne jamais abandonner.
It means to never give up.
I remember my grandmother, Jeannie, when we were living in a small village, used to be called Fort Chimo. Now it's Kuujjuaq. When we were visiting with family and friends, the elders, as they were leaving the home of the visitors where we were, would say ayuinata as they were leaving, everyone reminding themselves that we never gave up. So I'd like to ask you, all of you in this beautiful place, to say it with me. Ayuinata. Again, ayuinata. When we if you will indulge me 1 minute, I'd like to speak my mother tongue. Ananatsiara peruksatilunga iqamagisoga pulalagatta inuhatitinik anilangalgaming uhasungu hatalausimamata taimang ayuinata ayuinaneakogu ilunata taimelo hatasimayuni iqamasunguama taana uhausata ilallarealwa inuttitun. When we commemorate our soldiers, when we see our athletes compete or students graduate, I see ayuinata. It's part of Canada's story and one of the reasons we are all here today. Oh Canada, nous défendons le respect.
In Canada, we stand for respect. We stand for an equal and compassionate society where everyone belongs.
We work together to improve and protect this beautiful creation called Canada. When we include everyone, humanity is better for it. In a few minutes, we will have the honor of seeing 5 Canadians being invested into the Order of Canada for their exceptional achievements. Their actions year after year, make Canada better. Le geste améliore le Canada.
Their actions make Canada better.
Across this great country, thank you, Nakurmik, Huyanamik, for showing us all your deep, enduring love for Canada. Happy Canada Day. Bonne fête to Canada. Canada ulungani aliasugitsi, hobiasugitsi.
And there you have it, kits and cubs, the Governor General. And a lot of the things that I love about Canada are in there. She's talking about Ayun Nata, and everybody joins in and applauds. She speaks in her native language. And though most people in the crowd do not know specifically what it is that she said, does matter. They have they get the vibe. Yes, and they applaud because there's room for everyone here. And everybody can be Canadian and whatever else they are. Bring all of themselves to it. And that's so some beautiful moments there. So from our Governor General and from the way that the audience responded, and the Governor General trying to make more progress in French. It seems to not as much progress as a lot of people would have liked her to have made, of course, considering there was a lot of people that did object to her nomination because she couldn't speak French as well. But definitely trying to do a little more as time goes on over there. But yes, exactly, Kit Carroll, that's the true definition of free speech. Being free to speak your own language is so important to many people. Free to have our culture and include it in our Canada. That is so eloquently stated. Thank you for putting it that way. And with respect to that, as you know, Canada Day, very celebratory for a lot of us, but there are some of us who have a different relationship to Canada Day. And I saw a couple of things yesterday, again, that hit home with me when I saw them, because it speaks to the power of art, how the power of art can be used to open the door to tougher conversations. And over here, there's two artworks that I would like to show that for Indigenous peoples whose relationship to Canada is a little different and may not want to celebrate Canada Day in the same way that we do, or for whom Canada Day means. These artworks here that come along. So black robes, of course, the Catholic priests at the time, helped by the RCMP, who were taking children away from their families in order to bring them to residential schools. And so, right, Canada Day is not necessarily the same for everyone from coast to coast to coast. Everybody's relationship to Canada is a little different. So that was Kevin Setti who posted those to his Facebook, and they spoke to me specifically, and so I figured I would share them. But there's also something else that came along, and this is from the Standing Bear Network that has a section on their Facebook page that's called Storybook Corner. And there's an author named Kanipawit Masqua who wrote something called Why We Light a Fire on July 1st for the Children, the Ancestors, and the Land. And I will show you an image there. But there's an excerpt of when I read it, again, touched me. And I figured that I would share it with you here, kits and cubs, because these are things that need to be heard. And people, especially when they're talking, some people are talking and sharing their experience, even though it's not our experience, right? Our relationship is different. It's still important to have open heart and open mind and open soul and hear it. So this is what was published here. On July 1st, some people wave flags. They wear red and white. They sing big songs and shoot fireworks into the sky. But not all of us celebrate that way. In our family, we gather around a small fire. We sit close together, quiet and listening. We remember. Grandpa, a little one asks, why don't we wear red and white? Grandpa leans in and smiles. I wear the color of my ancestors, he says. Earth, blood, bone, sky. The little one's eyes grow wide. She looks down at her ribbon skirt, its colors glowing in the firelight. Before there was a Canada, Grandpa says, there were nations. Nehiyawak, Anishinabeg, Haudenosaunee, Deni, Inuit, Tlingit, Mi'kmaq, and more. We were here with our own ways, our own songs, laws, and languages, our own stars, stories, and spirit. The fire crackles. The little one listens. Then came the lines, drawn on maps we didn't make. They built schools that weren't safe, took children away, changed our names, stole our words. The fire goes quiet for a moment. Even the wind holds its breath. But our people didn't disappear, Grandpa says. No, we remembered. Even when it was dangerous, we carried the songs in whispers, the pipes in secret, the lodges in our hearts. The little one leans closer. Are we still remembering now? Oh, yes, Grandpa nods. We are remembering, rising, reclaiming. The languages are coming back. The youth are standing strong. The grandmothers are still teaching. The drum still beats. Boom, boom, boom. It never stopped. It just waited. The little one smiles now. I think I hear it too, she says. I want to light a fire when I grow up. Grandpa places a pinch of tobacco into the flame. Good, he says, because our fires are sacred. Not loud like fireworks, but strong like roots. They remind us of who we are and how far we've come. The fire glows, the smoke rises, the remembering continues. Ekosi. So, there you go. That is from Kenipawit Masqua, from Why We Light a Fire on July 1st for the children, the ancestors, and the land. So as soon as I read it, I was like, oh my God, I have to share this. Because it did. It hit me right here in the solar plexus. And whenever something hits me there in the solar plexus, I know it's meaningful. So that's the where in my body, if I feel something, I know that it's going to stay with me for a good while and maybe even the rest of my life. All right, kids and cubs, there's a lot more to talk about with regard to Canada Day, but we are trying to keep the shows under 2 hours because apparently that's better for the algorithm and getting people to see us. So we'll have to, at the moment, say that this is the end of our episode for today. And hopefully, I don't know, again, maybe I'll try to see if I can. The weather's really nice today, so I might want to take advantage of it. But if I'm able to do a little something extra, because there is a lot of Canada Day content here this year, hopefully I'll be able to come back with something else. Or if not, there will be something in the show tomorrow. We'll have more of it. So please watch our socials. We might have a little something extra for you today. But if not, we'll definitely, there'll be more Canada stuff tomorrow. Canada Day stuff tomorrow, because there's much more that we had to talk about. Of course, the income tax cut has come into effect yesterday, and the first LNG exports started yesterday. So trade diversification takes an extra step, and there were many other things. Some of the federal trade barriers did come down. So there's lots of things to talk about that are more news and less sort of exploring what it is to be Canadian. But and hopefully we'll get to those in other shows. We haven't forgotten them. It's just that there's a lot going on, Kids and Cubs. So that's the end of this episode. We hope that you loved listening to us because we loved making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. If you would like to support us, then one of the ways that you can do that is by retweeting our content with some words of your own, or by going to our pod page. That's podpage.com, the True North Eager Beaver, with a hyphen between each one of those words, and that's brought to you by the Ray Girl. If you scan that QR code that's appeared on the screen, that will also bring you there. And if you click subscribe, well, then that makes it such that when we have something fresh off the bandwidth in podcast form, it comes directly to your podcast feed, and you don't have to go looking for us. We come straight to you. If you would like to help us in other ways, please go to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page and click on our buttons like, share, and subscribe. That helps us with the algorithm. Thank you. If you'd like to help us in other ways still, then Kits and Cubs, our coffee page, is where you can make a financial contribution to the Beaver Lodge if you would like to support us and help us with the costs that we incur to bring this show to you. If you're listening, that's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. So if you drop a couple of coins in there and offer your favorite beaver hot chocolate or your favorite grizzly a cup of hot, dark, bitter coffee, you'll be doing your bit to keep your favorite beaver moist. And a moist beaver is a happy beaver, as Kit Saucy says. So thank you for your contributions. That way they mean the world to us, because democracy is something that you do, Kids and Cubs. Take a day off. Take a day for self-care. And then come back to the fight a little stronger. Unless you're in Battle River Crowfoot, take some time to make a donation to Bonnie Critchley, and and of course sign up to volunteer to give her a hand if you would, if you're able to do that. And of course, remember, it's a federal election, so if you want to make a donation to Bonnie Critchley, it can come from anywhere from coast to coast to coast. Words of wisdom, Kits and Cubs, keep that good feeling if you've got it. Ride that wave. Okay. It could be a tough world out there, Kits and Cubs. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And Kits and Cubs, at the count of 3, if you could say, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock on 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling that energy. I'm feeling that carryover energy. Here it comes. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, Kits and Cubs, before we go, just a little bit of Canadians who make us proud. At Wimbledon over the past 2 days, Canadians have been playing in the first round and have done very well. Carson Brandstein, who was taking on the world #1 Arina Sabalenka, did lose, but not after having a very, very impressive second set in which she showed the world what she can do. And we're definitely going to be hearing a lot more from her. Felix Auger-Aliassime won his first round in a 5-setter. That was a little tense. Things were doubtful for a while, but he managed to get it out. Leila Annie Fernandez also advanced to the second round with a rather convincing win against someone who was given a wild card. Denis Shapovalov, unfortunately, lost his first round match. He's been having a bit of a difficult season here, and he will be dropping out of the top 32 in the world, and hopefully he'll be able to get back in there in time for the US Open. And we got a bit of bonus Canadian content because Victoria Mboko, who we've been talking about a lot, who didn't make it out of the qualifications round, but was one of the highest ranked losers in the third round, got into the main draw because Anastasia Potapova decided to withdraw and took on the number 25 player in the world, and she just keeps winning. So she won it convincingly in 2 sets, and it goes on to the second round. So 4 of the 6 Canadians advance, the other one being Gabrielle Diallo, who had a very, very convincing 3-set win against Daniel Altmaier. So some of them are in action today, and that's all I got for you. Bye, everyone.